It is time to take our next steps into the wonderful world of data. In the previous module, I introduced you to some of the key terms and terminology. So you might wonder, how does all of this relate together? In this next module, we will start introducing the Big Data Framework. The Big Data Framework is basically the program on which all of the different certifications are based, and which you are now taking the first step. The Big Data Framework was composed because a lot of enterprise organizations are struggling with getting the value out of their data. In this course, we will touch upon the different aspects of the Big Data Framework. I'm very happy here to start showing you the first structure of the framework by itself. And as you will see, it consists of 6 major modules. It is exactly these 6 modules which we will be covering in the upcoming modules. So you also now kind of know what the structure of the rest of the course is going to look like. The first module that we're going to touch upon is called Big Data Strategy, because this is a topic that is required for any enterprise organization. You can potentially spend the rest of your life analyzing data, because there's so much out there. But without having a clear direction of how are you going to retrieve value and what the business case will be, this is going to be extremely difficult. So in this module, we will cover how to set up an effective big data strategy and determine use cases that will benefit the organization. We will then move on towards a big data architecture. As you have seen in the previous module, we will need to have specialized capabilities to analyze massive quantities of data, and that requires an architecture. Specifically, we will look at the reference architecture from NIST in the US and provide this as a reference model upon which we're going to build in the future. The third module is all about algorithms. So here it's time to brush off your statistical knowledge. In module 3, we will slowly but surely introduce statistical concepts with which you can start the design of algorithms. Don't worry, we're gonna build it up step by step and introduce some of the most fundamental concepts first, and then move towards a little bit more complicated ones. After we have seen the big data algorithm section, we will move on towards discussing big data processes, because this is an aspect that is required for any type of enterprise organization. When you're dealing with data, you need to take into account things like privacy and security, or who can access what data. These are big questions with which major organizations struggle every single day. In order to set up a good structure to do this, you will need processes. So in this module, we're going to look at what those processes will look like. Then we're going to move on towards one of my favorite topics, which is big data functions. Basically, this module is all about people. What do we need in order to set up an environment in which we can analyze big data effectively? The most important part there is obviously people. So here are we going to talk about how do we set up a center of excellence, how do we develop skills, and how do we work together in teams in order to get that value out of the data. Moving on towards our last module, we will see in the Big Data Framework that is the topic of artificial intelligence. Because as we've seen in the previous module as well, artificial intelligence and big data have a very close relationship. Here we're going to look at cognitive analytics and how these algorithms can be used upon big data sets in order to move towards an AI organization. One of the things you might have noticed already about the Big Data Framework is that it's built up of 6 building blocks. And within the course, we're going to refer to these as capabilities. As an organization, in order to be capable in all of these aspects, means that you will be able to be capable in big data. And the beautiful thing here is that we can measure that. So all of these capabilities provide measurable areas which we can use in order to improve the organization. I hope you will enjoy this module, so let's start diving into the first topic right away.